you're an entrepreneur, it's not for your whole life. It can just be for a part of your life where you want to do a thing or build a thing or have a go at something. In life, there's starters and there's runners. That people that like to go 0 to 1 to build the thing, do the heavy lifting, build in processes, scale out a company, and then step back. And there's people that like to come into something that's either mid-range or well-established, and they like to be operators. They like to go from 1 to N. They like to build on those things. It's very, very choose your own adventure.
Back to the Ben and Bergs Show, episode 11, with your favourite college dropout and MBA. Bergs, how are you, man?
Doing really well, mate. We've had a few technical difficulties today, mate. Where are you?
For a couple of dumb people, this is making it a lot worse.
Mate, speak for yourself, okay?
I'm pretty sure I've got 11 weeks of consecutive shit internet. That's one of my...
Singapore was really good internet, mate. Everywhere else, Australia, worst internet. Singapore, just bang on.
It's fucking Sydney, mate. That's why. This place is a joke. You've got 1 bar of 5G. I'm in the middle of the city.
You're bagging out the Sydney siders, mate. 1 bar of 5G. Although, just as we were talking before, you've had a good coffee, mate. A good coffee in Sydney.
I had a good coffee, yeah. It was after episode 9 when I absolutely just bagged the shit out of the coffee that pulled through to that
sweaty
episode.
feet coffee.
The almond milk. I didn't have sweaty feet coffee. The almond milk wasn't burnt. It was actually okay. So... Bergs, I'm looking forward to today's episode because this one, I think we both had our struggles in. So this is the other side of entrepreneurship, how to survive being an entrepreneur. So this, whether you're an entrepreneur, just a busy person, CEO, trying to build a business, startup, whatever you're trying to do, we are going to talk about, I guess, the other side of entrepreneurship. Because I think a lot of people see the social media side, people with, in their Instagram bio, entrepreneurs, CEO, all this sort of nonsense. We want to talk about the other side. What are the downfalls? Or the other side, loneliness, not being able to wind down, constantly busy, constantly worn out, anxious, depressed, all sorts of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, man.
Yeah,
so,
and just give you the reality of... That's a very gloomy picture, but the way I've had it explained is really like the highs and lows are more extreme and they're more frequent. So the highs are really high, the lows can be really low, and they happen in quick succession, and you've got to be prepared for that. And this episode is going to be about how do you manage that, and what are the tips and techniques we have just to survive and try and live a semi-normal life, because it is very, very difficult. You don't necessarily in like a corporate role, you still have the ups and downs, but it's kind of smoothed out. You're working within certain bounds. This is just right. Not only is it a startup, it's a crypto startup. The wheels are off. You're going face first into the market and you need to survive. It's a very, very different animal. And it takes some getting used to.
For sure. And what we talk about here on the podcast is, Web3, startups, investing, finance, and life, where we're trying to tie in our lessons building a crypto startup so you can take home and I guess take some of the lessons learned from us as well, sharing our experiences into your own business and lives. Bergs, before we start, why would you be an entrepreneur? Why do you work in a startup? Why do you want to work crazy hours? Why are you on the insanity train? What?
Oh, mate, for the love of the game. So if we look at my old job, I was working in health and I was building stuff, and people give it the title entrepreneur. So basically I owned a business unit. I was building product. I was building mobile apps, and it was great. But there are a lot of downsides to that. And the downsides were, it's in a big bureaucratic business. I can't go fast. Resources were very, very limited. And even though I knew something would provide a huge outsized benefit and I put up a business case for it, invariably we would get rejected for other things because it's not, it's IT, it's not the core business of health. All these sorts of things. And what really bothered me was, apart from the not being able to move fast, was I got no upside from it. If I did a shit job, I got my salary. If I did a great job and blew everything out of the water, I got my salary. There was no upside for me. And then there's this crazy space that is crypto that's occupied my mind for so long. I love getting into it. It's just the space that I want to operate in. The market's exploding. And I like building product, and I've wanted to do this for a while. And now I can work in a startup. Yes, we're still resource constrained, but I have a lot more autonomy and authority over what I build, what I do, what my day-to-day looks like, how I assemble my team. And I'm directly responsible. I have more control over the action that I do, and then how I respond to the market as well. Plus upside, through bonuses and equity as well. So all of those incentives that are aligned, the harder I go, the more reward I get, or rather the more success I have, the more reward I get. And that really spurs me on as well. And it's, for me, it's like really working in a space that I love, and a lot of the day does not feel like work. It just feels like I'm getting shit done. I'm building something. I'm working towards something. I'm a lot happier than I was. It's just, there's a lot less bullshit.
Yeah. For me, I love entrepreneurship because of the freedom, the flexibility, the ability to do what you want when you want, and you're in complete control. That's why I love crypto. That's why I love being a business owner, entrepreneur, because you are in control. If you work 5 hours a week, you'll get 5 hours worth of results. If you work 50 hours a week, 80 hours a week, you get 80 hours of results. You are the master of your destiny, and that's why I love being a startup founder. The downside of the startup founder is all the other side that comes with it. You're constantly busy. You're constantly working. My brother traveled with me to Sydney this trip, and he's like, man, you don't actually holiday, do you, when you travel? I said, no, mate, I'm fucking busy all the time. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm finally seeing that. Like, you get time to do nothing. I'm like, yes, I know, I'm fucking just busy all the time. So, like, you're constantly busy, you're constantly talking, stressed. It can be lonely if you don't have time to talk to anyone. You're constantly just, like, all hours of the night up, traveling around everywhere. And it can be quite lonely. So I think we want to talk through, I guess, the other side of entrepreneurship today, sharing some experiences of how we get through it, what we do, how do we balance things out, how do we keep a normal life, and some of the lessons learned, which I'm excited about, Berg. So
absolutely.
Maybe we can start off with, do we want to talk about, like, is entrepreneurship for everyone, first of all? Like, do you think that, being a founder, startup, running a company, do you think everyone can do it? Do you think it's for everyone? Do you think, how do you know if you sort of built
Fuck
for
no,
it?
It's not for everyone. You got to be crazy, mate. You got to be a loose unit, and the wheels have to be off. You have to be absolutely psychotic to get into this game. And you just have to go hell for leather at this target. You have to build the future that you want to see. You have to be driven by that vision. And that is not everyone. And that's okay. And that's the other thing. Like, if you're an entrepreneur, it's not for your whole life. It can just be for a part of your life where you want to do a thing or build a thing or have a go at something. There's a lot more freedom. It's a big sandbox. And in life, there's starters and there's runners. That people that like to go 0 to 1 to build the thing, do the heavy lifting, build in processes, scale out a company, and then step back. And there's people that like to come into something that's either mid-range or well-established, and they like to be operators. They like to go from 1 to N. They like to build on those things. It's very, very choose your own adventure. To do this kind of work, yes, you need to be a specialist. Everyone needs to be a specialist in something, but you need to be a generalist as well. Like with me, I'm great at building product. I can lead tech teams, but also I need to have what I call MBA chops. So I need to be able to do things like review contracts, punch out a heap of strategy, help out with the vision, be an expert communicator across different teams and facilitate those things. And you need to really be a generalist and a jack of quite a few trades in order to succeed in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, especially early in a startup, being a generalist, I think is far more valuable than being like a expert in a niche. I think that definitely comes through scale, and as a bigger company grows, you need experts in specific fields. But early on, everyone's doing everything. So I think it's really important to have a broad skill set and willing to just give everything a go. It can be much more valuable. One thing that I think I struggle with I'm working through on the entrepreneurship is the downtime. I think being a founder in a crypto startup as well, I find myself, it's just constantly on. You're just always on. I find it's difficult sometimes to really wind down at the end of the day because your head just wants to keep going and going and going and going and going. It doesn't stop. So I think we're going to talk about a few of the strategies that we use to sort of wind down at the end of the day, and a few things we can do to balance out. And I think people call it like work-life balance and a range of different things. I guess we'll talk about how we sort of navigate those spaces as well. But I think, as you said, Bergs, there you go.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, even if you're just in a job in a big company, you'll be feeling a lot of the same things. Life is really hard. If you've got kids, you've got a family, if you've got a lot of needs, you work a lot of hours, you're always connected. Everyone I talk to, no matter their station in life or what job they're doing, they're all burnt out. They're all going really hard. It's a very, very hard gig. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to kind of deploy these lessons. But if you're an entrepreneur, you better do it or you will not survive.
I agree.
Seriously.
And I think like, you know, even just sort of looking at my calendar, like what tends to happen is you know, especially in a startup, you just do so many different things. So for me today, like flew in from where was I, Brisbane last night, so we're getting in late, early morning start, gym, we got a weekly team meeting, we got an exec team meeting, we had the dev chat, or that got canned. Then I went down the Nova studios and did 2 hours worth of crypto recording. So I'm pretty tired now. We did 2 hours worth of crypto social content in the studio, green screen lights, travel home, phone calls in the Uber, phone calls when I got home. Then we did the podcast. Then I got another phone call after this. Then I got a dinner. Then it's back early in the morning. You know, 7:30 start. I got a workshop, meeting, podcast, mastermind. Got to go buy a suit before a dinner tomorrow night. Another meeting, coffee somewhere. Got to go and get tickets for the event. Another investor meeting at 5:30. Do it all again on Thursday morning. Ready for my talk. Like it is just go, 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 go. And it's context switching as well. So, you know, emails come through, different conversations, a problem pops up here, this person's doing that, we don't know what's going on. You're just constantly going in. It requires a lot of energy and concentration to actually go, whoa, like what are you actually talking about? Like what are the details, what am I missing out on to make the right call? Because if you move too fast, you end up making wrong decisions and it has domino effects down the line. So that's one of the things of a scaling business when there's a lot going on, the context switching of where you are, what you're thinking about can become difficult.
And thinking about how things are interconnected, and you're spot on about your day. So my day today started around 7, exec meeting, weekly huddle. The meeting after that got canned, but then we're doing a deal assessment. So going through that, still punching out strategy stuff, finishing that off for an investor. We've got a product launch happening tomorrow. So doing all the readiness assessment around that. I had to quickly duck off and help my mum with a medical appointment, come back, do the pod, and I'll be going till pretty late tonight, finishing that, going through the product, make sure it's polished, creating the videos for it, making sure they're ready, and then finishing the rest of that strategy as well. It's just, there's an unlimited amount of work to do, and you need to be very strategic about what you select, what you do, and where you put your effort. And the complexity comes in dealing with a global asynchronous team and the interconnectedness and interdependency. You have to be acutely aware of what other people are doing, what they're up to, where their things are heading, and you need to sync quite regularly to make sure that you're putting in your efforts and you're not too many steps ahead of someone else, or you aren't hogging too many resources. It's full on to get all of this kind of coordinated.
I think one thing I sort of realized as well, Bergs, is like we as an exec team, especially, we actually don't talk that often together, like synchronously. We do a lot of async communication, a lot of Slack, a lot of stuff, but we actually do a really good job at owning our areas. Like if I think about what I'm doing at the moment, I'm doing a lot of podcasts, public speaking, I'm doing investor stuff, strategy, sort of running a few different things. It very rarely overlaps with what you're doing, which you're doing product strategy, you're doing roadmaps, you're pushing out a lot of code, doing a lot of product launches. And then that doesn't really overlap too much with what Aman's doing. We've got a lot of growth stuff, marketing, we've got a podcast, we've got like affiliate stuff going, we've got B2B partnerships, we've got funnels, we've got ads, we've got conferences, we've got and to have the skill sets that we do and the focus and the niche is so paramount, I think, in a good startup, to have skill sets that cover different areas. Because no way on earth could I do what Bergs does. Bergs couldn't do what I do. I couldn't do what Aman does. Aman couldn't do what Bergs do. Bergs could, you know what I mean? Like it's just such a, you've got to have that, well-oiled machine. And
it wasn't always like that. And we've worked very hard at this to get it to the level we're at now, and we've still got heaps to improve. And the way that we did that with our team was, Ben was traveling a lot. He was in the States. He was in different time zones. We were still working out roles and responsibilities, as well as role perceptions, like what we thought our roles were. So we went quite deep on that, like who we manage, how we manage the areas of responsibility. And then having weekly syncs with activities, having a simple board. These are the activities for the week. These are the things we're going to focus on. And they're just the big things. You don't need to put everything on there. But that's helped us focus so much. And we align that to our strategy, which we review monthly, saying how are we going on these quarterly goals? Are the activities we're carrying out aligning with those goals? And we've been able to tick things off very quickly just from focusing everything back to, okay, this is what we're achieving this quarter. These are the things we're doing week to week. And our teams have been so thankful for us doing that, where we come in and we say, this is our overall strategy. We reinforce it to people. This is what we do. Right, we're doing these tasks. This is how they align with the strategy. This is how they're building on other things. And this is how we're executing on our vision. And that is a very hard thing to do. And you don't always get it right. But when you do, man, you can move really fast and people are just satisfied and they're happy because they can see that they're building over time. They're not just doing a task and like, well, how does this little web thing I'm building fit into the overall thing? And we're like, well, it fits in the customer journey here. Then we're building this. Then we can have another product and we can do B2B sales. And they're like, holy shit, I didn't realize what I was building is going to have all these flow-on effects. And really, that's one of the keys to building high-performing teams.
I agree.
Do you feel we've gotten onto that level, man?
100%. We had a lot of work to do, but to build that high-performing team, you've got to have the cadence of meetings and strategy. So you've got to have the top-line strategy. You have to have your weekly meetings. You have to have your exec strategy. Then you have to have your department meetings. You have to have cross-department meetings. Each individual role needs to be outlined so they know what they're doing. And then you wrap everything with a weekly progress board so everyone knows what our priorities are, where they're at. We can report it at the end of the week, and we celebrate each win. And then at the end of the weekly huddle, we also share a story of like where we found one of our team members representing the values of our company, which is such a great way to finish the event because we don't see each other every day. That's the downside of working in a remote company. You don't see everyone.
That was one of the best things I've seen. So the way and even though Ben mentioned a lot of meetings there, the meetings that I have is basically a one-on-one with my teams. So I'll have half an hour to an hour DevOps meeting a week. I'll have the weekly huddle. We'll have an exec sync. And then just the rest is just ad hoc. And even in the DevOps meeting, that's a proper workshop. We're going through backlogs. We're refining those. We're looking at product. We're doing product reviews. Like they are proper workshops. They're not meetings for the sake of having meetings. And the way that we run our weekly huddle is just, it's amazing. So we all barrel in. It's only 45 minutes. There's about 10 of us in there. We start off with a one-word opener, like how we're feeling. And we always say these fancy words that Ben just doesn't understand. And he's like, how are you feeling? He's either happy or tired. He's got two emotions. That's all he's got. That's what he's working with.
On or off.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Ben will like recap what's happened in the week and reinforce our strategy and where we're heading and the wins that we've had. And then we'll jump into, okay, what are the focuses for this week? And this is really good because everyone's in there. And generally the focuses that we have are cross-functional team focuses. So different teams in different time zones will need to come together to execute. So we talk about it, right, we're going to build this product feature. We're building it because of that. And we'll need marketing and we'll need the data guys to get on it. We all need this done within the next week. This is the critical path to do things. All right, in a Slack channel, let's go away and execute. That's great. And then, then we have a shout out as well. So one of our team members that's displayed some of our company values that we have, which are like, what are they, man? Like getting shit done, hungry to learn, improve, innovate, 80-20 something,
simple,
helping out the community.
First.
And there was keeping it simple. And man, I want to shout out everyone every single week, but it's just so nice to shout someone out and be like, you did this amazing piece of content. Everyone loved it. You've changed people's lives or you've built that thing. It just feels so good. And literally, like, although you're my boss, I do want to shout you out every week. And I specifically don't because I shout you out just, one-on-one. But you really set the pace and the tone for that. And it is just, it's amazing. And then after all of that, at the end of the meeting, we have a one-word closer. And honestly, generally the start of the meeting, people are like pretty good. Some are like, say, like, oh, tired, hungry, underslept, depressed, whatever it may be. And by the end of it, we're like, I'm amped. Like everyone's just ready to go and ready to execute. They are the best meetings. They're 45 minutes long. It is just, honestly, with your teams, try and structure a meeting like that and just see what happens. It is phenomenal. It is exciting.
Okay, Bergs, what are your self-care tips for as a busy entrepreneur, professional, CEO, dad? What
CEO, you promoted me to CEO, mate. All right, let's talk about it. How much more money do I get? Do I get to not rock up and just travel the world the whole time, mate? And pretend I'm busy?
Send you $1.50 next week, mate.
$1.50? Mate, that's the biggest pay rise I've ever had. Let's go. I'm in. CEO. All right. I'll change my LinkedIn tonight. Right. Self-care tips. I'm horrendous at self-care. I will put everyone and everything before myself. And I've learnt the hard way that is not the way to do it. You will die no matter where you are in life, working, not working, working hard, not working hard, you will die. And I always have this image in my head where, first of all, your physical and mental health comes before anything else in the world. Anything. And the image I have is when you're on a plane and they teach you, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then help people around you. That is what you need to do. So, a couple of things that I do. I meditate, I exercise, I go for walks, I read, and I try to journal. So let's go through all those things because it sounds like a lot, but hey, I'm not the best. I don't do them all the time. The one things that are definitely non-negotiable for me is lifting. So like exercise, that one is non-negotiable. The rest I'll try and fit in when I can. So what I'll do is I'll wake up and I'll meditate for 10 minutes. That just sets my mind because I wake up, I'm the kind of person and my mind's racing. What's happening? I've got to do this thing. Oh my God, what about that? I've got to get ready. I've only got 15 minutes. Does this person need me? All this sort of shit. And meditation is just headspace on an app for 10 minutes, just gives me peace from mind, peace from that chatter. And it's an amazing thing that happens when, you listen to someone, you focus on your breathing, you may do a visualization. And now then the last minute you stop, you're like, okay, brain, where's all that chatter? And your brain's just like, no, I'm cool, fam. And it just doesn't do it. And it's like, that's like the perfect start to the day, right? And I try and do that at night as well. Like whenever I kind of want to disconnect because the reality is your day is mental. You'll wake up, you might have kids, you'll have to feed yourself, get changed, drive to work, get your kids to school, open all your fucking email, your Slack, meet with your teams, talk to people, have all these conversations, you've got deals to review. And your brain, you're walking down the street and your brain's going, oh, you said this thing to that guy. What if they interpret it this way? Oh, what about this? Oh, do you think you offended Ben today? Oh, were you too much of a prick? Did you go too hard with the memes? All this sort of nonsense, right? That's in your head all of the time. And meditation for me.
Can I add something, Bergs? I think that's a really good point because I think people have those different anxious thoughts. So the things that you sort of thought about through then, mine's like, okay, is everyone in the team working well? Did I know what that person did today? Are they not performing well? Is the business not performing as well as what I thought? Is there enough money in the bank? How's our revenue? Did we spend too much money? Should I have spent that money? Should I have bought that coffee today? Should I have, your mind just goes, right? And that could be different for our listeners at home. You don't need to be working as an exec or a founder at home. That could be anything. I think everyone has those thoughts that run through, and it's just they take over sometimes.
And the way it was explained to me is your mind is like a crazy person. If you took it out and put it in a room, you'd be like, that person's insane. And the reality is we all have these thoughts running through our heads all the time. Everyone has it. It's like the judging mind. You're always judging things. Did I do well? Where am I right now? Have I done the right thing? Am I actually a good chief product officer? Or should I have made that decision? Am I a phony? Do I have imposter syndrome is another thing as well. And I have the same things with the company. Yeah. How much run rate do we have? Are we making the right strategic decisions? Are we investing in the right areas? And these are just things that go through your head, and you just need to recognize that you are not your thoughts. And the thing is that you can do noting where your thoughts come by and you're like, oh, that's a thought. Thinking about that. Thank you. And you get on with your day. But it is the hardest thing to do because we grab onto those thoughts and we give them too much attention, and then you start to feel anxious about them. And it is just a crazy, crazy thing. And I think when you're in a high-paced environment, bruh, these things happen a lot more and it builds. And if you don't do the self-care with sleep and exercise and all those things, it just accumulates. And then the other things I try and do is I try and get out for a walk if I can. Walking for half an hour in the sun is just phenomenal. I lift 3 times a week, so I've been getting back into it. Non-negotiable. Have to do my deadlifts, overhead press, and bench. Get swole, bruh. But
swole boy,
yeah, boy. The reality is, I've started lifting, and my back problems have gone away, and I'm just like, fucking hell.
Wow.
Literally, it is lifting for me is just mental health and not having any kind of chronic pain. And lifting, that just does it for me, right? And it's like, fuck, if I've got an extra 5 kilos on, I'll get rid of that in time. But if I can operate with no pain in my day, mate, that is amazing. Because searing nerve pain absolutely sucks. And then the other thing I started doing is twice a week, I hate doing cardio, take a footy to the oval and act like a kid. Absolute idiot. I'll go to the oval. It's this huge oval. Everyone can see you. I'll take a footy and I'll boot it like an absolute lunatic. Sprint, got this fat man sprinting after it, grabbing a footy, kicking it. Half the time I try and do the thing where you run after the ball and you try and scoop it up and pick it up on the run. I fall on my fat ass and I start laughing. It's just it's the best. All the cricket and footy people are looking at me, all the mums and dads going, mate, this guy's on drugs. But I come back so happy and my body How often during the day? I got a computer job. I sit at a computer. Yeah, I got a standing desk, but I hardly lift above my head or bend down or do all this kind of stuff. And just doing that makes me feel like a kid, like I'm at play. My heart rate's up, and I just come back smiling, and I'm absolutely shagged by the end of it. It is so good.
Dude, it's similar. So on my side, I do something similar. Back in Launceston, the gym that I go to has 2 big basketball courts. And when I have time, I'll finish my session and just go over and just start shooting hoops. And I'm like a terrible basketballer, but you just got to play in your, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, like doing something that's, I don't know if you played footy back in the day. I used to play basketball, but just being able to pick up the basketball and just have a shoot around. Like it's just something about playing sport and activities. Just, it's fun, right?
It's what humans were supposed to do. And the key thing here, and even things like I love doing yoga. I don't do it enough. Right, I only tend to do these things when my body's already in a sore and stupid state, but it needs to be done as a preventative thing. After I stretch for half an hour, I feel like 10 years younger. It is unbelievable. And I'm a firm believer in that if you earn with your mind, you should rest with your hands. Like you should do these physical disconnected things that we just don't do enough in our lives. And I find if I build that into my day, as much as I don't want to do it, and my stupid mind doesn't value these things, because my mind is like, oh, Bergs, man, like you're fine. Like, you got a bit of muscle on now. You're looking okay. You don't have any pain. You don't need to do that shit. Go do some more work, build the company up. That's what you want to do. And I have to fight that every day and be like, no, I need to do this. It is non-negotiable. Otherwise Bergs will fall apart. And it is the hardest thing for me to do. I struggle with that a lot.
Yeah. That's good, man. And I think you've got to find your own routine as well, right? It's a constantly evolving thing. You're iterating and find what you've got to do, and building those habits around things that is important. And your mind does play tricks. Like it tells you things that you might be wrong or not there, and your mind sort of has a mind of its own sometimes.
Yeah.
What I find difficult for me was sort of my schedule. Like I don't know when I was home last. I'm living out of a suitcase, so half my stuff's in a storage unit in Melbourne, half it's back home in Tassie. I haven't been home in I don't know how long. I'm just living out of a suitcase. So constantly going to different places. Some places don't have gyms. Some places don't really have good rooms. I might only be there for a couple of days. The constant traveling as well makes me tired. So what I find is one huge variable is food. The food that I eat, and I'm a absolute shocker for just going down and grabbing like a chicken burger or something like that. As we all know, I love a chicken sanger, and that sometimes just is not the healthiest thing to do. And sometimes I just feel like shit the next day. Other thing I'm awful for is like the winding down at the end of the day, because I feel as I'm go.
Yep.
I go to my phone to continue the dopamine or continue like the like wideness. I really struggle to slow down.
The cheap
and when I
unearned
do
dopamine.
that. Cheap unearned dopamine, shitty food, and then I always get a shitty sleep when I do it.
Yep.
So for me, that's something I'm still working on. Do not get that right all the time, and know as soon as I wake up that I've sort of had that shitty sleep if I do that. But non-negotiables for me is meditation in the morning. I use the Calm app now. I've done a Vedic meditation course, love that. I use the Calm app. It just listening to the person in my ears just fucking relaxes me so quickly.
Oh. It's amazing.
And then gym, it's amazing what the gym does for your sleep. Love going to the gym.
Yep.
If you can eat good food, gym, water, and going for a walk. I haven't done a walk in a long time just because you need to block it in the calendar. I used to love going on a walk and reading, listening to Audible books, but just it's been insane recently.
When I plan my days, I literally start off with what does Aaron need first and have those non-negotiables in there. That just sets me up for the week. Some of them do get moved, and sometimes your life is just hectic and you have to do those things. But you're so right. And like the two things that overarching goals that I've had when I write them down. So these are my 90-day goals, is to deadlift 100 kilos and cook 90% of my own meals. So I'm not eating shit. So the 100 kilos is only because I started on a very low weight, and to get that within 90 days, I have to constantly exercise. I have to work on it. It's not about the weight. It's about the consistency for me, which is a really good goal. And I will hit that goal. And then cooking 90% of my meals, I was surprised at how easy that was. Like, and again, it's like, help from my wife, and we tag team and those kind of things. But cooking in bulk, we're cooking a lot more Indian food with a lot of spices. We generally don't cook that kind of food, even though I'm Indian. But that has helped out so much just with my sleep and less fatigue, less brain fog. It's been amazing. Mate, do you journal?
Mate, Yeah, I do. Inconsistently. Love it when I do. But do find journaling is really helpful, especially at night times. Just busy mind just really calms me down. But one thing I've found with trying to build habits around doing things that you know are valuable but are hard to actually execute is having accountability. And by having accountability, whether it be like a due date or a deadline or an accountability partner, helps me so much. So our podcast, Bergs, like you're my accountability partner because I love doing the podcast, but I probably always think I'm too busy or it's all too hard. We have a date, we have to show up. We're there for each other. That's accountability. The other thing that I'm finding really difficult at the moment is building towards my TEDx talk in September. And I've got to have this like 12-minute like talk, word for word, memorized. And that is very hard to do because I just genuinely don't love like sitting down and reading through 15 minutes of word and reading it out. But my accountability is I'm going to look like an absolute idiot if I go up on stage and cock up my speech. So I'm like every day, every morning, every night, I'm reading through my speech, talking through the mirror because my accountability is I'm going to look like a dickhead unless I get it right. So for me, thinking about how I want to be up on stage in a month's time is I want to kill it, I want to nail it, I want to come out and be a real game changer for our business, and that's the thing that's keeping me going.
Yeah.
And having those accountability things can really, for me anyway, make like a habit or something I don't want to do progress a lot faster.
Absolutely. And I've got the time for things, but especially lifting, a lot of days I'm like, I'm tired, I'm sore, I don't want to stretch, I can't be fucked. Like, it takes me half an hour just to put my shoes on. But once I start, it's all right. So what I've started doing is writing down like a little script of things I need to read in order to get me there, to motivate me. And it's things like, look, if you don't do this, you're going to be a fat motherfucker. You're going to be in pain for the rest of your life. Even things like simple things like if you calculate, if you want to live to 90 and you work out how much muscle mass you will need at 90 to do the things you want to do and work backwards, you roughly lose 10% muscle mass per decade. How much muscle you need in order to be able to just function. Like that was so I wrote all that down. And then I'm like, think about your family. How are you going to perform for them? What are you going to be? What are you choosing? Why are you choosing what you want now over what you want most? That is a shitty thing to do. And I do that a lot with food where it's like, I want that chicken burger, son. I'm going to have it. But that's what I want now. What I want most is to be fit, have a good sleep, and be healthy. And that is one of the hardest choices to make. So I printed out these like Jack Butcher things behind me. I've got that script written. I'm trying to have visual cues everywhere that I am to make it as easy as possible for me to get to the things that I need to do.
That's really cool. And constantly seeing that, like sticking that on your fridge, putting that in the shower, on your cup of coffee, constantly reminding you of those things. I think that's really cool.
Oh, because mate, we forget and forget and forget. Like I went away on that trip, came back, blissed out, fully zen, amazing. And you get back in the swing of things, you start going hard again, you rebuild those little neural pathways that give you the rewards in your brain, and a month later you're stuffed. You're back in your old habits, you're doing the silly things, and you have to fight those every single day. And it comes back to very simple: easy choices, hard life; hard choices, easy life. Make those hard choices every single day and you will have an easy life.
So the other thing I'm doing, Bergs, in my EO group is we have a goal spreadsheet, and we have an accountability partner for our goals. So every fortnight we catch up with our accountability partner. We have 3 major goals we need to achieve for the year. And we've got one thing, if we tick it off, how we're going to celebrate. And one thing, if we don't do it, what our pain or what our thing that we have to do that we don't want to do is. So we've got that motivation to be like, hey, if we do this, I'm going to celebrate with champagne with the team. If I don't do this, I have to rub Aaron's feet or something stupid like that, you know what I mean? Like something that you just hate, don't want to do.
So my missus does this. She hates filling up petrol in her car, but she likes the dollar coffee from 7-Eleven. So she goes, not filling up, doing her tires. So if she does that, she'll have it stacked and she'll get that as a reward. It works so well. Yeah. Let's just talk about EO for a second. So this entrepreneurship organization, really awesome group. I went to my first key executive personnel workshop. It was amazing. We talked about it a bit last week. I got some cracking food out of it, and it was cash day. Cash day! So I'm
cash, baby.
Cash money, young money. So I'm not that unfamiliar with cash. I've done my MBA. I've done accounting and managerial finance, company director's course. So I know a little bit, right? But what was phenomenal about this course is they're literally like, bring your income statement, your cash flow statement with you. First of all, I didn't get the fucking memo, so I just had to make it up. Luckily, I knew the numbers. So, you know, thanks again, Ben. Great one there, mate. So we get in there and literally it's just like, you got these worksheets and they're like, great, take your numbers, put them here, do this, do that. You've got 10 minutes and they talk you through it. Everything happens. What was amazing about this group, they're just like, okay, Aaron, what did you get? And I'm like, they're like, read it out. And I'm like, oh yeah, 10% here, 5%. They're like, no, what's the number? And you have to say the number, like in front of 30 people you never met before, the cash in your business. They're like, why is that? How do you feel about it? Well, what are you going to do about it in the next 90 days? All right, Aaron's going to do this in the next 90 days. It's like, holy shit. Some people are having a meltdown because, you know, they're business owners and they work in negotiation or entertainment or something. They're not across all of this stuff. And they're like, man, I need to be across this. But then they started getting these insights going, well, my thing is I need to tell my accountant, I need it in this way. And I need to set it up this way. And just like, man, because all of like in academia, it's like you learn the stuff, you repeat it, you talk about cases. This is like, yeah, great. That's fantastic. What are you going to do? Pick 2 things and you have to have done this because you're coming back with the same group in 3 months and you're going to tell us what you did and how it went. And it's like, holy shit. And that works so well when you have that accountability.
The other thing I want to talk about, Bergs, before we move to this topic, is just the idea of doing stuff that you actually enjoy doing. You know, trying to do something you don't enjoy doing, I think is inherently just going to set up for failure. Like, building your life and building a business and career or whatever it be around something that you enjoy, I think is a game changer. And one of the biggest game changers that I've had recently is being able to travel on my own, work, and meet new people. One of the most fulfilling, most happiest things I've done in the last like 2 months, which I have never done before, is travel and meet new people. Like when I went to Singapore, I just met people. We went on, you know, they took me around. We ate good food. They took me to the sites. I'll probably never see them again. We keep in touch, man. We go back to Singapore in 3 years' time. It doesn't matter. Had an amazing time. And I've never felt so happy and fulfilled by being able to do what I love and meet cool people along the journey and learning from them and building a better life. Unbelievable. Love it. And I think that, like, for me right now, like, I've never felt so, like, just excited and pumped up amongst all the stress and the anxiety and the tiredness and just like traveling and business, and it's like it's a lot, right? But if you can mix those with things that really, you know, build your energy up, your battery generators, not your battery drainers, game changer, huge game changer.
That's huge, mate. I've noticed it as well in your demeanor. Like, you're happy, you're having new experiences, you're pushing the boundary. Like I tried to, I'm like, bro, we need to catch up for 10 minutes tomorrow. You're like, bro, I'm booked from 7:30 in the morning till 11:30 at night. It's like, jeez, like building in those things, just it's like a happy life, and you're spot on. And the question that you need to ask yourself is, if you didn't have your job, if you didn't have parts of your identity, who would you be, and what would you do? If you woke up tomorrow and you had nothing to do, nowhere to be, no responsibilities, what would you do? Probably start there. And then on the flip side of that, let's imagine that, you know, you are only able to work 2 hours a day. What would you do for those 2 hours? And okay, now it's 4 hours. You should probably start with that. And these are very hard challenges for people. You know, we get caught up in, well, I just get a job, I work at a company, I get some money, I go to restaurants, I go to travel. That's great. But what do you really want to achieve in your life? When you're 90 years old and you look back, will you be filled with regret, or will you be filled with happiness and satisfaction? Really put your mind to it. It's a very hard thing to do, and it's too hard that people just fall into getting their lives and minds occupied by the mundane. And I think it's people that really want to choose, you know, their path and how they want to structure their lives. So I did this for myself, and it, you know, some people frame it as, what's your average Tuesday, right? Like, how would you live your life? And it's something like, wake up, make breakfast, take my daughter to school, go for a walk, play basketball with my mates, cook some more food for lunch, or take my wife out, go and do a little bit of volunteering either at the school or somewhere else, do a little bit of reading, meditate, and then cook some pizzas for dinner, and then watch a movie. That is like my ultimate day. Like, that would just make me so happy and so fulfilled, where it's just filled with friends, cooking, community. Like, they're the things that really charge my batteries, get me excited, and make me feel fulfilled.
That's cool. That's cool. I watched this video the other day around, like, you know, instead of asking someone, hey, you know, my name's Ben, what's your name? You know, where do you work? What do you do? Hey, my name's Ben, what's your name? What's your dream day? If you had a dream day, what would it be filled with?
How cool is that? And a lot of people
How
have
cool.
not thought of this, right? Or it'll be a
Yeah.
very generic answer. Like, or when you retire, they're like, yeah, I want to travel. That's like, yeah, great. When? Where? How long?
Yeah.
You could probably do that now.
Yeah.
Go work remote for a couple of months, or take long service leave.
Yeah.
You know, go live in another country, rent your house out. There's so many ways that you can do all of these things and start living out your dreams now. And again, I would point to the 4-hour work week where he's got, I forget what they're called, like dreamscapes or something like that, where you really, in a systematic way, answering 7 questions in 10 minutes, you can work out what your ideal life is, how you want it structured, and the things that you really want to do and achieve in your life. And it's wild. Like the more complex my life gets, the more money I have, the more things I do, the more things I build, the more I just enjoy simple things. Like nothing in my life is very fancy. Like the things I enjoy most are having friends over, drinking wine, cooking, and playing board games with them. Like that is like the ultimate, man. Like it's very boring. Or like, you know, going on mountain biking with them, or, you know, having a new experience with them. It's not being surrounded by super fancy shit or having a super fancy house. It's experience with people and having laughs and drinking a bit of wine and having good food. And then also achieving along the way, whether it's, you know, just talking to them or helping them out or doing something in the community. They're the things that are super fulfilling for me.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. I found that similar, like simplicity right now, like living out of a suitcase, kind of interesting. Like I don't have any really possessions or things. You know, I've got my like my camera and my lights and, you know, microphone and stuff, but I don't have a house, or, you know, I don't have shit to worry about. I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to, like, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You know, it's actually...
Mate, this is the thing. Like, there's a lot to be said for minimalism as well. And also, like, the whole thing about, you know, what you don't do determines what you can do. Like, not carrying all that stuff around. In my house, I've probably got, like, 20 or 30 grand's worth of shit I need to sell. Just like old computer stuff, old arcade machine. You've been to my place. There's fucking shit everywhere. Like, it's a tidy house, but there's a lot of stuff that I just don't need, that I don't use. Yeah. And I need to get rid of it.
You just accumulate, right?
Oh.
It just happens. You sort of accumulate. Like when I lived in St Kilda, we just started accumulating shit. I was like, what the fuck is all this shit? Like, it just happens. Yeah. One other thing I just want to go back on your point around, like, you know, friends. That's one of the best things I found about traveling and meeting people along the way. You just sort of set up dinners with people. You know, tonight I'm catching up with Benny again. Like, Benny's in Sydney.
Nice.
So we're going to catch up for dinner and just going around, like, you know, coming to Perth next week, Bergs. Or when I'm going back to Melbourne this weekend, catch up with some friends. Or I was in Brisbane last week, caught up with some friends. Gold Coast the week before, caught up with some people there. It's like, you just meet and catch up, go for dinner, go for drinks, go for coffee, hang out, whatever.
I'm so
fun.
Yeah, I'm so bad at catching up with my friends. And we always try and organise our schedules, and we've all got kids and it's all too hard. And what one of my mates has done is created a group where it's like literally the last Thursday of every month, you commit to it. And it's from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Someone hosts it and you have an activity, you go out and do an activity, and then you all go out to dinner. And just always having that kind of accountability to the group and knowing which day it's going to be. Like, you just have to set up systems for this stuff. Like, setting up systems will save you. Even in finance and everything else, automate that shit. Automate as much as you can. Put on autopilot. Don't organize it at the last minute. Outsource your thinking so it just happens.
Yeah.
Man,
it's funny. I've got 2 people helping me and I still screw it up. Like, I've got PA and operations and still screw it up. Like, I'm bad at that, and you know, you do need to do it though. You need to plan in advance, or just set a date and go, you know, be here or be square. Just make it happen. You know, like, take initiative.
Mate, when we did a bit of prep for this podcast, so I ended up writing down some quotes. So they're pretty cracking. I love them. I'm going to throw some quotes to you, and I just want to get your first thoughts on them. First quote.
Okay.
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Oh, wow. Oof. That's right in the feels.
Oh, so for me as well, with my father passed away, my mum's very sick. Seeing what happens when you get old, and you just don't know how many days you have left, and enjoy yourself now. We're always sacrificing today for an imaginary tomorrow. You don't know. It's not promised. It may not happen. Do the things you want to do today. And I've been trying to build that in, especially working from home and spending more time with my family. Like, having that disconnecting and that time has just been absolutely amazing, man. Yeah, that gets me in the feels, man. Oh, here we go. That's one's
a feels quote. It's like short and sweet.
This is one for you, okay? The overscheduled life is not worth living. Because think about it, your life, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, right. If your life is, I think you're slightly different, but the overscheduled life, when you got too much on and you're always chasing your tail, that it's not worth living. You don't have time to relax and enjoy and be in the moment. I think you're slightly different where you're definitely overscheduled, but it's always building towards something, and you build in things around it, like your mates or travel, or you're traveling with your brother. Those kind of things to make it work for you.
I actually do take on too much, but I also like have this little motto of like work hard, play hard, and I have that motto because it reminds me that I'm still young. You know, I'm not going to be in my 20s forever, and you know, we're building this great company, and it's important to focus hard, but it's also important that you need to take some time off and relax and have a bit of fun. Otherwise, you know, work's just going to be, you know, it's going to be a drag, and it's going to be hard, and you're not going to have that time to sort of blow off steam.
Yeah.
So, for me, my overscheduled life probably occurs because I want to do as much as I can right now. You know, I'm not optimizing to relax. I'm not optimizing to build something really cool and have a shitload of fun along the way.
Yeah,
that's what I'm optimizing for.
And you're also very young, right? So you're very young and you're working hard. And here's two things, actually three. So just off that, don't be afraid of failure. Be afraid of regret. So that's a huge one for me.
I love that. That's
if you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. If you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. And I see that in our team a lot from our people.
Okay. Yeah.
And, you know, the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment. And this is one of my favorite ones. If you want to make a pearl, you're going to have to get some sand in your clam. It's like my favorite one, man. It is so, so good. Oh, amazing. And
that's good, Bergs. That's good quotes.
I love it, man. I love it. And here's another one. Days of honey, days of onions. That's definitely us, mate. Like some days are just onions, mate. They're fucking ass. They're
fucking
so
onions,
bad.
mate.
You just go to bed going, why the fuck am I doing this? Oh, man.
Right, Bergs, hit me with a meme. What do we got this week? Hit me up.
Ben,
I heard it's spicy. I've heard of the grapevine. It's spicy.
I've been looking at the memes that I've been doing lately, and, you know, they're good. They're okay. But the reality is, we could be going a lot harder in this, and I've been disappointed at myself. So I got a meme, and I'm going to do a trigger warning on this. If you are triggered by 9/11, please tune out now. So this is right up there. This is a spicy meme. I'm going for it, mate. We're doing this. This is happening. All right. Ben, I will now share my... Ben is worried. We're getting sued for sure. All right. Boom. Here's the meme. All right. So this is Pete Davidson, and he's holding Martha Stewart's hand, and he's got his arm around Kim Kardashian. And the caption is Pete Davidson banging his way up the Illuminati ladder to find out what really happened to his dad on 9/11. So this meme just hit so hard on so many levels. It was absolutely amazing. So let me just kick off with Pete Davidson jokes about this and gets roasted about this all the time. He would appreciate this meme too. So his father passed away in 9/11. He's made movies about it. He's all this kind of stuff, and he's very what would I say? It's affected his life majorly, and it's a very difficult thing for anyone. But the thing where he's banging Kim Kardashian, and now he's holding Martha Stewart's hand. And the whole thing with George Bush and 9/11, trying to find out what really happened on 9/11, I was like, oh my God, this is just too good. This is amazing. This hit, like, okay, if I've got all meme receptors in my body, all of these just lit up instantly because the meme is offensive. It's super fucked up. You've got the Illuminati in there. You've got Kim Kardashian. You've got Martha Stewart. You got a comedian who just roasts people and gets roasted about this kind of thing. Mwah. That is definitely the meme of the week. So, Ben, we're going to lose a lot of followers. I'm going to jail, but I do think it was worth it. And just to cap it off, I've got another thing. This is what my mate sent me. So here's the little picture. It says, real friends talk shit to your face and say nice things behind your back. And then my mate says underneath, I talk shit behind your back and to your face. So this is the kind of abuse that I cop.
Brutal honesty. Brutal honesty.
Oh, mate. So I asked a few people about that meme, and all my loser mates said, yeah, go for it. And the reasonable people are like, do not do that. And I'm like, I'm doing it. That's the signal, mate. That's the signal. Oh, jeez.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
We never run out of memes.
It's so spicy. Amazing.
Okay,
You got a meal of the week.
Meal of the week.
Oh,
got a meal of the week.
What have you got?
Here we go. So, Bergs, this is going to hit home for you. Here we have...
No, I know exactly what this is. Is that
Here we
business
have
class?
an in-flight meal. It is. I was flying home from Singapore into Sydney to go to Brisbane, and I go up to the desk and they said, "Sorry, sir, we've run out of seats on the Sydney to Brisbane flight." This was on British Airways. "Can we move you to the Qantas flight direct to Brisbane?" And I said, "When does that leave?" They said the same time. I said, "Can you put me in business?" And he makes a phone call. He goes, "Can we put him in business?" And he hangs up. He says, "Yes, sir."
Oh, lad.
Business. And I said, "Lock me in, son." So it was an overnight flight. I was kind of tired. I had a little nap. He wakes me up. He brings out, I've eaten it already. He brings out this soft buttered loaf of bread. Smash that down with about 3 mouthfuls. Then he brings out the pork chop. I ordered a chicken sandwich. They were out of chicken sandwiches. Okay, fuck, I'll get the pork chop. I was thinking, it's going to be average pork chop. Brings out this pork chop. It is crispy on the outside, Burrs. Somehow they fucking seared the pork crackle in an aeroplane 40,000 feet above the ground.
How do they do
it? The
it?
potatoes are melting. Peppercorns, nice green beans, little bit of buttered jus, salt and pepper with a nice glass of water. Oh my goodness. Yum, 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 yum. While Bergs would be up the back in peasant class eating his mashed potato and gravy, I was up the front, upgraded to blisters.
So, there's a story behind this. Ben is a fucking dog. So are Trav and Raph. You're both dogs, right? So about a year ago, we flew out to Melbourne. We're doing some consulting with Ben. So 3 blokes from Perth fly out. I get to the airport. I'm like, where are these guys? They're not here. Shit, they're going to miss the flight. Turns out they're in the Qantas Club. I'm like, all right, thanks for inviting me, assholes. Yeah, great, dickheads. So anyway, we get on the plane. I'm like, where are these guys? And they get on the Wi-Fi. I'm like, where are you? They're like, we're in business class. Where the fuck are you? And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, did Ben spring for this shit? What the fuck's going on? And I'm like, oh, they're like, no, we just upgraded with points. And they're telling me, I'm like, why the fuck didn't you tell me what you were doing? Like, these are guys I talk to. And they're like, you guys are assholes. So anyway, they start sending me photos of their screens. They send me photos of their food, their beautiful meals, their wine. I'm just like, I'm going to come up and shiv you in the neck in a second. Like, you're pissing me off. So I got this meal and it was literally like a little shitty ass takeaway box. And in it was like this curry that was just an oil slick and a little piece of naan that looked like a tongue. And mate, it turned my guts. It was disgusting. It was the most fucked up thing I've ever tasted. So anyway, I get off the plane and we get up, we go downstairs, and Ben's nice. He's organised like a airport transfer. So a guy's got the little thing. It says Trav, Raph and Drevs. And I'm like, what the fuck? He doesn't even have my name on it. He's like, are you Drevs? I'm like, nah, son, I'm Bergs. Drevs is from Sydney. I'm from Perth. With the Perth people. Just get kicked in the fucking teeth. And then, of course, I've got to wait for my bag because these guys are in business class. I've already got their bags. Mine's got to come out peasant class. Anyway, eventually get to the hotel. You get to the hotel. I've already checked in. I'm smiling ear to ear. I go to the guy and he's like, yeah, we've got your name here, but you're not here. And I'm like, what do you mean? These guys are checked in. They've gone up to their rooms. I'm at the other Crown. They dropped me off at the Crown. Then I have to fucking... It's like late at night. I got to walk out in the fucking Melbourne cold with my bags dragging behind me, find the other magical Crown, and finally get to the Crown. It does turn out that my Crown was far better than theirs. But mate, what an absolute stitch up. Every single time I just got stitched up. What a load of shit. Anyway, my meal of the week. Let's go. All right. Mate, this is my meal of the week. Boom, here we go. This was phenomenal.
Ooh.
So this was Malaysian food. This was from a hawker place. I'm going to take you here, man. It was amazing. And it was only like $10, crazy cheap. So we've got 2 paratas there, which they just make like on site. They're fluffy, they're amazing, they're oily, they're delicious, they're crunchy. You've got some kind of like sauce at the top, which was just tangy and delicious and amazing. And on the right, Ben, you've got mutton curry. And this thing was phenomenal. It just melts in your mouth. There is so much flavor packed into this. You eat it and your stomach just feels so good at the end. You just want to like get down on your knees and say, God, thank you for inventing this. It is amazing. It just hits the spot. Like, I'll take you here when you come to Perth, mate, because it's not too far. And, mate, it is just phenomenal. And, mate, this is a 10 out of 10.
No.
It is.
Get out of here.
It is. Honestly, I will take you to this place and you tell me it is not a 10 out of 10. There is not anything else I would want to put on this plate. I would eat this every day for the rest of my life and I would die a happy man.
Wow.
This is what you're going to eat
First
when you come to
10 on
Perth,
the Ben and
mate.
Bergs show.
Mate,
I'm out there next week. Actually, I didn't give but quickly, pork chop, 8.9 out of 10. That's great because it's airplane food. Anyway, I'm coming out to Perth, Bergs. Question is, the listeners want to know, are we doing an in-person Ben and Bergs show next week? Are we recording together?
First of all, I almost think we have to because the internet is so shit. And I reckon it would just be amazing.
We might actually get good recording.
You know what we should do? There's actually a podcast room you can hire out. We should hire that out and let's just go. Bring your little camera and just
Let's
bang
do it. Okay, rightio. You've heard it here first. Episode 12 is going to be in person next week in Perth.
Mate, amazing. I can't wait.
Perth. Oh my God.
Mate, you're going to love
I might
it
change
at
my
Perth.
mind yet.
Perth is like the best place. We've got amazing coffee. We've got beautiful people like myself. We've got amazing food. I'm going to get some 10 out of 10s, mate. I'll take you for this. And I want to see your rating. I want to see what you give it. You go, oh, it's too spicy. You hurt my tummy. We'll see how we go, lad.
Can't wait to travel in the past and see what living in the past feels like in
Mate,
Perth.
You know that all the time. You live in Tasmania. We've got a lot of laws now, like you can't breed with people of your family. So, you know, I'll show you what the future looks like, mate.
You fuck.
Suck shit.
Oh, nothing for you. Right, wrapping up. If you're into crypto, we're going to the Gold Coast. I'm going to the Gold Coast, Australian Crypto Convention on the Gold Coast in a few weeks' time. I'm going to have a booth up there. I'm talking. Nick, Matt, Shane are all going to be up there. So if you're listening to Collective Shift and you're in the Brisbane Gold Coast area, come up to the Australian Crypto Conference. It's going to be lots of fun. And if you want to get into crypto, head over to Collective Shift. We've got a bunch of free resources, newsletter, beginner's course, and you can try one of our premium packages for $1 for 7 days. We've now got the new dashboard, Bergs, which looks absolutely incredible. The portfolio should be out by the time we launch this, which is going to be sick.
So good.
So you can log your portfolio and get personalized insights. So much great stuff coming.
It looks amazing, and you can set up your personal dashboard and your portfolio in about 30 seconds. Minimal clicks, looks slick as, it all happens in the background. It's a beautiful thing. Love it.
First thing that Bergs has made beautiful was the portfolio. So we're off the
I've made many beautiful things, mate.
You want to know.
Mate, it's just so pretty out here.
Let's end the podcast there. Let's end it there. That's it. Right, mate. See you next week.
Nice one. See you, mate.
See you guys.
Bye.